All right, y'all. How's everybody doing? We're definitely going to dig into this document. There is some crazy stuff in here that I've already seen on Twitter. Really quickly, this CNN article recaps it. Let's just jump right in because we don't have much time today. So let's get through as much as we can. Special Counsel Jack Smith provides fullest picture yet of his 2020 election case against Trump. There's some wild stuff in here. We have some new leaks about what Trump said. A federal judge in Washington, D.C. has released the most comprehensive narrative to date of the 2020 election conspiracy against Donald Trump. It's a 165-page document that I have pulled up right here that we're going to go over. Let me correct the size right here. But first, let's read some of these recaps. Trump told advisors he would declare victory. Prosecutors say that Trump was told by his advisors that the 2020 vote likely would not be finalized on election day and that he could misleadingly look ahead in the ballot count on election night, only to fall behind once all the ballots were counted. Nonetheless, Trump told his advisors that he would claim victory either way. So we know for a fact that Trump's advisors said, hey, there's no evidence of election fraud, and on election night, it could take time for all of the votes to be counted. Yet Trump, nonetheless, still told his advisors he was going to claim victory early. And that's a really disgusting part that people miss, is that Trump declared victory before the election results were counted on election night. Like, he did so much stuff that it's insane. But yeah, we're going to dig into the actual source document in just 1 second. Trump also sought to, quote, perpetuate himself in power. Someone said, I downloaded this immediately. Hell yeah. Smells like cooked goose. What did you eat for lunch? A bagel sandwich or something. Smith's office stressed the private and political nature of Trump's actions around the 2020 election. The private and political nature because they're not official acts. What's the tea, Adam? Essentially, Jack Smith just released a new document. No, Jack Smith wrote a new document. Judge Chutkin just released it. And there's a lot of new bombshells about what Donald Trump did. And it's actual bombshells, like crazy, crazy stuff. Trump sought to perpetuate himself in power. Trump told advisors he would declare victory early. Let me see this.
So when it appeared as though the events on January 6th were leading to be a violent effort to overthrow the election results, one of Trump's campaign employees, also an agent and a co-conspirator of Trump, literally said, quote, make them riot. Do it.
Wait, a Trump?
A co-conspirator of Trump literally said, quote, make them riot.
Let's see. Yep, this is a good birthday present for me, honestly. Great birthday present. Let's control F this document and see if we can see. At 2:40 or 2:24 p.m., Trump was alone in his dining room when he issued a tweet attacking Pence and fueling the ongoing riot. Quote, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. Thank you, homie. Thank you, everybody in chat. What's up? What's up? Happy birthday. Thank you. This is an amazing document. Let's read this. Let's get through this. This is history. We're live streaming history right now. I thought I had to hop on, even if it's just for an hour or two. I'm not going to be live all night. That afternoon, at the Capitol, a rioter used the bullhorn to read Trump's tweet about the vice president aloud to the crowd trying to gain entry. The defendant used the incendiary tweet about Pence, despite knowing, as he would later admit in an interview, that his supporters, quote, listened to him like no one else. So Trump said in an interview, his supporters listened to him like no one else, and he shot off these incendiary tweets about Mike Pence. Let me highlight this part right here. This part is insane. Let me find this. Oh my lord, the amount of times the word riot is used. I'm looking for this specific part. Make them riot, do it.
Do it.
This is some wild stuff. All right, let's keep reading. I guess let's start from the beginning. Happy birthday, little bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. The defendant asserts that he is immune from prosecution for his criminal scheme to overturn the 2020 presidential election because he claims it entailed official conduct. So, Jack Smith just jumps right into it. Literally jumps right into it with the hook that Donald Trump thinks that these were official acts. Not so. Then he just says, not so. Jack Smith is a savage writer. The way that he writes is really fire. Because he claims it entails an official act. Let's highlight this. What's this ugly orange color? Why can't we get yellow? No, not blue. Not so. Although the defendant was the incumbent president during the charged conspiracies, his scheme was a fundamentally private one. Working with a team of private co-conspirators, the defendant acted as a candidate when he pursued multiple criminal means to disrupt, through fraud and deceit, the government. Thank you, Bo. I appreciate that. Happy birthday from Chutkin and Jack Smith. Absolutely. Jack Smith wrote this for me, with me in mind. Chutkin released it for me on purpose. No, but for real, working with a team of private co-conspirators, the defendant acted as a candidate. That is the distinction right there that really matters. This was not an official act as the president of the United States protecting the interests of the United States. This was an act as the candidate running for president trying to grab power in any way that he possibly can. Jamie Dupree posted this. The Smith brief is chock full of evidence that the feds would put forward at a Trump January 6 trial. This one says Trump, quote, suggested that he would fight to remain in power regardless of whether he had won the election. Trump said that. P-15 was an assistant to the president and director of the Oval Office operations. At trial, the government will elicit from P-15 that he witnessed an unprompted comment that Trump made to his family members in which Trump suggested that he would fight to remain in power regardless of whether he won the election. Specifically, following the 2020 election, while aboard Marine One, Trump told his wife, daughter, and son-in-law, quote, it doesn't matter if you won or lost the election, you still have to fight like hell. Wow. One second. I'm trying to control F this so I can find the He said you still have to fight like hell. Where can we see the document? If you look up CNN, Jack Smith document, right here. Read this Jack Smith document. It lets you download it on CNN. This is some insane stuff. He told his daughter and his wife, quote, it doesn't matter if you won or lost the election. You still have to fight like hell. Let me see what page this is. Does it say? Boom, it's somewhere down here. Was anyone reading this before I hopped on live? This is some crazy stuff. As a part of its immunity analysis, the court should consider multiple different interactions involving Person 9, none of which bear on his official White House responsibilities. On November 13th phone call, in which the defendant told blank he was going to put blank in charge of campaign's legal efforts under an agreement where the defendant only would pay if something were successful, and Person 9 guaranteed the defendant he would never have to pay. You were reading it. Someone flipped on him and told, yep. Steven, why is someone named Stephen Miller in chat saying, haha, you complain about high school BS? Me? We're reading the January 6th document, homie. This isn't high school BS. This is like foundational to American democracy. I'm linking the document so you can read along if you want. Really quickly, I'm looking for this specific remark that he made, saying it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you still have to fight like hell. Which is wild to say. But that honestly matches with exactly what Donald Trump has always said, right? Or what Donald Trump was taught by Roy Cohn. That you never admit defeat. You never admit that you lost. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Okay. Wow, thank you, Dancing Warrior. All right, let's read this part right here. In all of these interactions, the defendant was interacting as a candidate and not as the president. Again, Jack Smith is clearly making the argument. Let's start writing some of this down just so we can keep track of it. The goal is for Jack Smith All right. You guys get how this follows, right? The Supreme Court essentially released the ruling that if you do something as an official act, as the President of the United States, in the interest of the United States, protecting the nation, then it's an official act and you're immune from prosecution. So Jack Smith quickly re-whipped up a new version of this indictment that says all of these actions were as a candidate and not as the president. And it seems like he's making the argument pretty well because he cites all of these different examples. Let me see where I just was. Okay, regarding the pre-election conversations, someone had testified that COVID's expected effect on the election, and in particular, the anticipated phenomenon that the defendant would take an early lead in some states based on the election day vote that would dissipate as mail-in ballots were counted, was discussed among campaign personnel and dual-hat White House staffers who simultaneously volunteered for the campaign. In that context, Trump and blank told other words to the effect of, quote, "We'll just declare victory." Saying this again, listen to this one more time. Trump and the people around him, his staff, knew for a fact that on election night, the red wave, or the red mirage, rather, would dissipate as mail-in ballots came in. Let me read this again. That is what they're saying. Trump was told this, and he said, quote, "We'll just declare victory." Regarding the pre-election conversation, P7 testified that COVID's expected effect on the election, in particular, the anticipated phenomenon that Trump would take an early lead and then that would dissipate as mail-in ballots were counted. This was talk. Stephen Miller says, "You sound like a crybaby. Why are there MAGA trolls in chat when this is the worst day of the Trump campaign by far?" This is worse than the debate for Donald Trump. He's saying, "I sound like a crybaby because Trump said, quote, 'We'll just declare victory.' Do you not care about free and fair elections?" Yeah, Steven is still raw about last night and about Kamala whooping Donald Trump's ass. But back to this. Donald Trump was told repeatedly that, hey, these mail-in ballots might change the red mirage. And he said, "We'll just declare victory," which is absolutely insane. Regarding the defendant's statement, someone will testify about a November 20th phone call in which Trump mocked and laughed blank in her allegations that he adopted and amplified crazy. Who are they talking about there? I feel like we know who that is. They have a lot of different names, so I don't know all of the In all of these interactions, the defendant was interacting as a candidate and not as a president. That goes back to what I was saying. The goal is for Jack Smith to demonstrate that Donald Trump's actions were not as the president of the United States. Happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate that. Your neighbor's Trump flag blew away in their last windstorm. Is that a sign from God? Was that Sidney Powell? Okay. With respect to Donald Trump's pre-election comments about declaring victory, the context of the conversation... Oh, my bad. Sorry, I thought you guys could see this whole document. With respect to Donald Trump's pre-election comments about declaring victory before the votes were counted, the context of the conversations indicate that the defendant was responding in real time to information that campaign staff provided him on private matters. Similarly, the November 20th conversation among the defendant, Sidney Powell, and somebody else was also a campaign conversation regarding the campaign and strategy, not about Donald Trump protecting the interests of the United States. This is some wild stuff. If you guys are just joining, Jack Smith wrote a revised version of the January 6th indictment, and Chutkin released it today. And this revised version essentially, we share B-Day. This revised version essentially follows the Supreme Court's new ruling that presidents commit official acts. So he's trying to demonstrate here. His sole goal is to demonstrate that Donald Trump was acting in a personal capacity when he was trying to subvert the will of the American people and interrupt the electoral process. Now, it's a 165-page document, and right now we are on page 155. Not because we've read it all, but because we're jumping to some crazy parts. Just wait for it. Right here, Trump says, "We'll just declare victory." He was acting as a person running as a candidate. The defendant then dialed his private attorney and made the comment about her claims with her on the muted phone line. Sidney Powell. It's Sidney Powell. You guys are right. The defendant was not seeking advice from the White House staffers. He was making fun of his private attorney in the presence of campaign volunteers. Dude's just a bully. Adam, you were conceived around Christmas. Thanks for that. Thanks for letting me know. P15 was an assistant to the president and director of Oval Office operations. At trial, the government will elicit from blank that he witnessed Rudy Giuliani. It said her. Rudy Giuliani is one of them. Oh! Yo, some guy. You just provided me the key. My bad. I thought we had to guess who these people were because it was still like just freshly unsealed, but people already know that P1 is Steve Bannon, P2 is Bill Stepien, Justin Clark, Tim Griffin, Alan Dershowitz. Oh, some of these are still up in the air. Jared Kushner is P13, Ivanka Trump, CC1 is Rudy Giuliani. Okay, cool. Is this the October surprise? It seems like one of them. All right, let's keep going. We don't know who P15 yet was. P15 was an assistant to the president and director of Oval Office operations. Is this Madeline Westerhout? I don't know much about her. So much for the redacting. Yeah, it's been out for a few hours and we already know. Okay, let's keep... This is the crazy part. P15 was an assistant to the president and director of Oval Office operations. At trial, the government will elicit from P15 that he witnessed an unprompted comment that the defendant made to his family members in which the defendant suggested that he would fight to remain in power regardless of whether he had won the election. Specifically, following the 2020 election while aboard Marine One, the defendant, Donald Trump, told his wife, daughter, obviously Ivanka, and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, quote, "It doesn't matter if you won or lost the election, you still have to fight like hell." That's Mark Meadows. Okay. P15 is probably... It's Mark Meadows. You can just tell by the verbiage they use around it. P15 is Mark Meadows, I believe, because it says he, and he was the assistant to president. It doesn't matter if you won or lost the election, you still have to fight like hell. And they had this person that was going to testify to this. This person was going to say, let me read this one more time. At trial, the government will elicit from Mark Meadows, I think, right, that he witnessed an unprompted comment that the defendant made to his family members where he told Ivanka, he told Melania and Jared Kushner, it doesn't matter if you won or lost, you fight like hell. And what I was trying to say earlier before I got sidetracked is that this is what Roy Cohn imposed on him repeatedly, saying time and time again, never admit defeat. Always say that you won, no matter what the evidence is to the contrary. He did that after the debate as well. This is wild stuff. To a limited extent, Oh wait, back up here. Mark Meadows happened to overhear this comment, but was not participating in the conversation between Trump, Melania, Ivanka, and Kushner. Yeah, P13 is definitely Jared Kushner. So this is wild. This was overheard in a conversation. This statement is plainly private. It was exclusively about the election and the defendant's determination as a candidate to remain in power whether he won or lost. The defendant made the comment to his family members who campaigned on his behalf and served as private advisors, in addition to any role they may have played. Again, further proof that this was a private action, not something that was done in furtherance of the United States and our national security or anything. The fact that it was overheard by Mark Meadows does not convert it to an official communication. Yep. Oh, I see what Jack Smith's doing here. This is clever. This is clever. This is clever. Okay. I might be catching on late because I'm not a lawyer, but like I keep saying, Jack Smith is obviously trying to demonstrate that Donald Trump's actions were as a candidate, but what he's doing right here is saying, in particular, if you look where it says this, P15 happened to overhear this comment but was not participating in the conversation, that essentially already dismisses any argument that this was an official act because Mark Meadows was present in the conversation. Think about it. What Trump's attorney would argue is, hey, the assistant to the president and director of Oval Office operations literally heard in on this conversation, therefore it's an official act. But what Jack Smith says, in particular, the fact that it was overheard by P15, a White House staffer, does not convert it to an official communication. It does not. Thank you, Manic Moogle. Do you guys get what I'm saying here? Type a yes or no. I just caught on to that. What Jack Smith is doing is very clever. He's trying to demonstrate that each action was on a taken as a candidate. Are you going to take birthday shots? You know, I wasn't before this document was released. Okay, you guys get it? Cool. I caught on slow. Am I going to take birthday shots? Yes. After this document, yes. And the thing is, after this, it's interesting because if we go through this document, I bet you he's going to do that in 100 different ways. Someone said, I forgot this was even live. That's kind of funny. Thought you were watching a video. To a limited extent, the allegations in the superseding indictment and the government's evidence involve P42. How many people? The defendant's executive assistant in the White House. I can't tell who these people are with just that. This is some wild stuff. Oh, damn, we're at 6K. If you guys are just joining, let me scroll up a bit. Okay, so this new document from Jack Smith says that the defendant, Donald Trump, was told in 100 different ways that even if there's a red mirage, mail-in ballots could change the election. This document says, quote, regarding the pre-election conversation, P7, we don't know who that is yet, testified that COVID's expected effect on the election, in particular, the phenomenon of mail-in ballots, could lead to the lead dissipating as mail-in ballots were counted, and that was discussed among campaign personnel and dual-hat White House staffers. Thank you so much, Mary, for the birthday shot fund. Absolutely. So Donald Trump was repeatedly told, hey, mail-in ballots are gonna tear your lead away. He said, quote, we'll just declare victory. And then P15, an assistant to the president and director of Oval Office operations, overheard a conversation where Donald Trump said, quote, it doesn't matter if you won or lost the election, you still have to fight like hell. And then Jack Smith very cleanly demonstrates that because this was accidentally heard by Mark Meadows, is it Mark Meadows? I don't know. Accidentally heard by Mark Meadows, it does not convert it to an official communication. You can see that at the end of this paragraph right here. That's clean. I can't find make them riot. I couldn't find that either, but I don't know where. Privately, the defendant told advisors that in such a scenario, he would simply declare victory before the ballots were counted and any winner was projected. And that is what he did. Thank you, Logic. In the months leading up to the election, Trump refused to say whether he would accept the results, insisted that he could lose the election only because of fraud. Thank you, Shadow Noir. I appreciate that. That is some insane stuff right there. Let's go back to the source document. To a limited extent, the allegations in the superseding indictment and the government's evidence involve redacted the defendant's executive assistant. Section 1 describes multiple instances in which she received emails intended for the defendant or sent emails on the defendant's behalf. These instances include her sending a group of private attorneys, including blank, an email with the subject from POTUS, directing the private attorneys to include material critical of blank in private lawsuits, receiving Michigan Senate Majority Leader blank. There's a lot of redacted stuff. But essentially, what it seems to be saying is that Donald Trump wanted his lawyer to send a message that said from POTUS, and then it said, a lot of the text is baked into the PDF, so it's not searchable. I was wondering, I couldn't highlight. I was wondering why I was having trouble highlighting half of this stuff. I wonder if we can find the... Okay, so what this was essentially saying right here is Trump included an email with the subject... Trump had his assistant send an email with the subject from POTUS. And in that email, the message was drafted to exert pressure on the Michigan Senate Majority Leader. I don't know why they redact that. I could just look it up. I don't know off the top of my head. And then was asked to update Trump on the overall strategic thinking on Trump as a candidate. None of these actions, in which she was merely facilitating communications, constitute defendant's official conduct. Blank regularly facilitated the defendant's purely private matters, including communications with his children about his Thanksgiving travel. This is awesome. Jack Smith has to create this entire case using Donald Trump's private interactions with his family members, his friends, and his personal lawyers and attorneys, while removing Mark Meadows or anybody that worked in the White House. And essentially, the riot is on page 8. Thank you so much. This is still fresh. This is fresh out of the kitchen, so we're all kind of just... Oh, I see it, for sure. Let me scroll up a bit. Immediately following Election Day on November 3rd, wait, up a little bit more. All right. By October 2020, a private political advisor who had worked for the defendant's 2016 political campaign began to assist with the defendant's re-election effort. 3 days before Election Day, P1, Steve Bannon, described the defendant's plan to a private gathering of supporters. Quote, and what Trump's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. That doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner. Is that on tape or no? These people are really dumb. These people are dumb. Isn't this one on video?
Just a few days before the election, Steve Bannon, a former Trump chief White House strategist and outside advisor to President Trump, spoke to a group of his associates from China and said this.
And what Trump's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. But that doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner. The Democrats, more of our people vote early that count. Theirs voted mail. And so they're going to have a natural disadvantage, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm. Also, if Trump is...
Dude, these are the dumbest criminals ever. They just walk around with a tape recorder in their pocket, literally documenting all of their stuff. These people are not dumb. They are very accomplished con men. That is true. You know what I found? Roger Stone is a very intelligent person. Roger Stone is a very intelligent political strategist, and that's not a secret. Thank you, Oopie Doopie. When Trump found out Mike Pence was escorted to safety, he said, quote, so what? Yep. Thank you, Kit B. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the happy birthdays. All right, let's keep reading this document. This is insane stuff right here. We were just getting this really good part. By October 2020, Steve Bannon, a private political advisor who had worked for the defendant's 2016 presidential campaign, began to assist with Trump's re-election effort. I'm just going to say Trump instead of the defendant. 3 days before Election Day, Steve Bannon described Trump's plan to a private gathering of supporters. Quote, and what Trump's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. That doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner. After explaining that Biden supporters favored voting by mail, Steve Bannon stated further, quote, and so they're going to have a natural disadvantage, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. And let me tell you, this was the most telegraphed plan in the history of the planet. Thank you so much, Sam. You're the best, homie. Appreciate that. Immediately following Election Day, the defendant did exactly that. As Trump and his private campaign advisors had predicted to him in certain states, Trump took an early lead on election night that began to erode. At approximately 11:20, Fox News projected that Biden would prevail in the state of Arizona, and according to campaign advisor P4, we don't know who that one is yet. He and his defendant were shocked and angry at this development. As Election Day turned to November 4th, the contest was too close to project a winner. And in discussions about what Trump should say publicly regarding the election, senior advisors suggested that Trump should show restraint while counting continued. You know, it's crazy how people around him were all telling him to show restraint. Thank you, Danny Thompson. Love seeing you around. Someone said 7,500 watchers and only 2,000 likes. Let's get it to 3K likes. Let's get it to 3K likes. This has been the best birthday gift ever. You guys are the best. Honestly, you know what would be a good birthday gift is hit the notification bell on my channel so you have a notification when I upload. Then you're stuck with me every single day. You're stuck with me all the time. No, but then I pop up in your feed more and then it helps the algorithm, realistically. Thank you, Tammy. Immediately following Election Day, Trump did exactly that. Trump's close advisors said he should show restraint while being continued. Lol, yeah. Two private advisors, however, advocated a different course. CC1 and CC6. Rudy Giuliani and, who's CC6? Is that Sidney Powell? Happy birthday. Thank you, thank you. Oh, P42 is Cassie Hutchinson. I'm going to copy that down over here. CC1 is probably Rudy Giuliani. That makes sense. Just liked and subscribed. Hell yeah. If you guys aren't subscribed, we got 7,500 people watching. Make sure you subscribe. But let's continue with this document because this is honestly historic stuff. Page 8, make them riot. Oh yeah, we're on page 6 or 7 right now. So we're right there. Oh no, my screen glitched. I almost put people in timeout. At approximately 11:20, Fox News projected that Biden would prevail in Arizona, and Trump was shocked. Two private advisors, Rudy Giuliani and somebody else, told Trump. One second. Told Trump to just declare victory. And at 2:20 a.m. on the 4th, which was the night after, Trump gave televised remarks to a crowd of his campaign supporters in which he falsely claimed, without evidence or specificity, there had been fraud in the election that he had won. Quote, this is a fraud on the American public. You just turned on notifications. Thank you so much. In the immediate post, okay, wait, right here. Quote, this is a fraud on the American public, Trump said. Give me 1 second. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country, said Trump. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election. In the immediate post-election period, while the defendant claimed fraud without proof, his private operatives sought to create chaos rather than seek clarity at polling places where states were continuing to tabulate votes. For example, on November 4th, the day after the election, P5. Do we know who P5 is? Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to get my chat back on my screen. There we go. Thank you so much, Maria. In the immediate post-election period, while Trump claimed fraud without proof, his private operatives sought to create chaos rather than seek clarity. For example, on November 4th, a campaign employee, agent, and co-conspirator of the defendant tried to sow confusion when the ongoing vote count at the TCF Center in Detroit, Michigan looked unfavorable for the defendant. There, when a colleague at TCF Center told P5, quote, "We think a batch of votes heavily in Biden's favor is right," P5 responded, "Find a reason it isn't. Give me options to file litigation, and even if it is." Wow. Thank you, Keela. I appreciate that. This is some crazy stuff. Fat Cat, wow. I appreciate that. Appreciate that more than you know. That's the best gift. Next to this indictment that Jack Smith just typed up for us, just for us. Okay, this is the crazy part. Again, thank you, Fat Cat. Y'all are the best. What page is on the screen now? We are currently on page 8. Page 8. And this is where it gets crazy. All right. Page 8 got some real shit. Yeah, okay. And we're getting there. P5 responded, "Find a reason it isn't. Give me options to file litigation. And even if it is," when the colleague suggested that there was about to be unrest reminiscent of the Brooks Brothers riot, a violent effort to stop the count in Florida after the 2000 presidential election, P5 responded, "Make them riot. Do it." The defendant's campaign operatives and supporters used similar tactics at other tabulation centers, including in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the defendant sometimes used the resulting confrontations to falsely claim that his election observers were being denied proper access, thus serving as a predicate to the defendant's claim that the fraud must have occurred in the observer's absence. Wow. Thank you, Frog Song. Thank you. This is some wild stuff. Let me read that one more time. When Trump's colleague, do we know who P5 is? The Trump campaign said, "Make them riot, do it." Let me look up P5 on Twitter. I really hope it's not going to be some weird porn shit. P5, let me see if anyone... The person has not been yet identified. P5's an insurrectionist and needs to be identified now. Okay, so nobody knows who P5 is yet exactly. Sounds like it's Rudy Giuliani or Roger Stone. I think Rudy Giuliani was CC1. P5 is a campaign operative. Yeah, we know that. Giuliani? I think Giuliani was someone else, though. Right here it says Giuliani is CC1. It says P5 is a co-conspirator. It could be Rudy. Chess bro. Not gonna lie, nobody seems to know. Someone just tweeted out, if your name is P5, you're in deep, deep shit, and it's going viral. Thank you, Super Torn. Thank you, all of you guys are the best. Happy birthday, mine is the 18th. Hell yeah, Helene. We have a lot of Libras in chat. All right, let's keep going with this document. This is some wild, wild stuff. Contrary to Trump's public claims of victory immediately following Election Day, his advisors informed him that he would likely lose. On November 7th, in a private campaign meeting that included Steve Bannon, Bill Stepien, who's P4? Wait, let me look this up. Nope, they don't know yet. The White House staffer P9, they think it's Alan Dershowitz, P9, who came to serve as a conduit. Wasn't he a lawyer, though? Who came to serve as a conduit for information from the campaign to the defendant. Campaign staff told to Trump that he only had a slim chance of prevailing in this election and that any potential success was contingent on the defending winning all of the ongoing vote counts or litigation in Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin. P5 is Hassan. Somebody said, what's going on? Jack Smith had to write a new version of the January 6th document due to the Supreme Court ruling, and there's some crazy, crazy new stuff in here. There's some absolutely wild new stuff in here. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for becoming a member. This is some wild stuff. All right. Within a week of that assessment that Trump would lose, the defendant's campaign conceded its litigation in Arizona and said that it's lost, meaning that based on his campaign advisor's previous assessment, Trump had lost the election. Wow. Okay, so according to the campaign advisor who told Trump, hey man, your only hope of winning this election is if you win all of the ongoing vote counts in Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin. You have to win all of them. Trump lost those vote counts, which means that he knew for a fact. P5 is Stephen Miller. I don't think it's been confirmed though. On that same day, on November 7th, or November 13th, my bad, in an implicit acknowledgement that he had no lawful way to prevail, Trump sidelined his existing campaign staff responsible for mounting his legal election challenges. From Steve Bannon and Bill Stepien and others who were telling the defendant the truth that he did not want to hear, that he had lost, the defendant turned to CC1, we think who is Rudy Giuliani, a private attorney who was willing to falsely claim victory and spread knowingly false claims of election. CC1 has to be Rudy Giuliani. Someone said P5 is Roger Stone. Do you know that for a fact? No. You guys are trying to confuse me. Someone said P5 is Steve Bannon. We know for a fact P1 is Steve Bannon because up here it says there's a video recording of P1 saying we're just going to declare victory. He's just going to declare victory, so we know that. P5 is Hannibal Lecter. Oh, I get it. I get it now, yeah. P5 is Mark Robinson. Thank you, Sarah Christine. Thank you, Brian. Happy birthday, Adam. Keep up the great work. This document drops on your birthday. Yep. And I don't want to stop guessing. Well, we know what some of them are, so we're just trying to fill in the blanks. Thank you, Marianne. That same day, in an implicit acknowledgement that he had no lawful way to prevail, Trump sidelined all of his existing campaign staff and turned to Rudy Giuliani. As the defendant placed alternating phone calls to P3, Justin Clark, and Rudy Giuliani through November 13th, Steve Bannon informed blank, another private campaign advisor, of the change, writing, quote, close hold. Don't tell anyone Trump just fired P3 and put CC1 in charge. Don't tell anyone Trump just fired Clark and put Giuliani in charge, I believe is what it says. You guys are the best. For real. We've had 5 new memberships. We're close to, can we get 10 new memberships? We're close. 8K watching, drop a like. Quote, you are to report to Rudy Giuliani. Lord, could you ever imagine hearing those words? If you ever hear the words, you are to report to Rudy Giuliani. Someone said, what did I miss? All right, to do a quick recap, real fast. Jack Smith had to redo his entire January 6th indictment due to the Supreme Court's ruling, and so far, we've seen some crazy stuff. Donald Trump, Mark Meadows overheard Trump telling Ivanka, Trump telling Kushner and Melania, no matter what, I'm just going to declare victory. No matter whether you win or lose, you always declare victory. And what Jack Smith did is he pointed out how Mark Meadows heard that in a private capacity. Mark Meadows overheard that, which is insane. Hunter S. Thompson would love to work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sun and Flowers, for all the happy birthdays, everybody. Quote, you are to report to Rudy Giuliani. When CC6 asked if Bill Stepien was gone too, Steve Bannon replied, they all just report to Rudy Giuliani, and that Steve Bannon has made a recommendation directly that if Rudy Giuliani was not in charge, this thing is over. CC1 is Rudy Giuliani. Can we say that confidently? When it says up here, Trump fired all of his campaign staff and hired CC1, an attorney who was willing to say the election was stolen, a private attorney who was willing to falsely claim the election. That's got to be Rudy, right? We can, okay. This evidence demonstrates that Trump knew his fraud claims were false. Wait, hold up. Trump knew that his claims of outcome-determinative fraud were false. Following Election Day and throughout the charged conspiracies, Trump, his co-conspirators, and their agents spread lies. Thank you for the memberships. Cookie, Mary, Manic, thank you. Following Election Day and throughout the charged conspiracies, Trump and the people around him spread lies that there had been outcome-determinative fraud in the election and that Trump had actually won. These lies included dozens of specific claims that there had been substantial fraud in certain states, such as large numbers of dead, non-resident, non-citizen, or otherwise ineligible voters had cast ballots, or that voting machines had changed votes for Trump to Biden. Trump and his co-conspirators continued to make these unsupported, objectively unreasonable, and ever-changing claims even after they had been publicly disproven. Fox lied as well. You are right, everyone is equal. Also, P5 is Jenna Ellis. You know, I think that makes sense. I'm going to write it down, but we don't know. Thank you, Brian Shalito. You're the best, man. Love to see you around. Rudy was disgusting on Borat. Yep, that was gross. Oh, wait, now someone's saying P5 is John Eastman. All right. No more speculation. These lies included dozens of specific claims that were unreasonable and ever-changing. Do you guys remember when Sidney Powell cited some lawyer who was some crackpot lawyer who didn't even have a license, some crazy dude? And then when it was released in court, when they found out in court this dude wasn't even a lawyer, Sidney Powell said that somebody else said that claim. Just crazy stuff. But let's keep going. The evidence demonstrates that Trump knew his fraud claims were false because he continued to make these claims even after his close advisors, acting not in official capacity, but in private or campaign-related capacity, told him they were not true. These advisors included P9, who they think is Alan Dershowitz, we don't know, and the White House staffer and campaign conduit, Pence and the defendant's running mate. Pence told Trump that, hey, the election fraud is not true. He said it repeatedly. CC won 100% Rudy. Sweet. We were pretty sure. Can you add the list of redacted names? So far, this is the working list that we have. So they might not all be right. CC2 is Eastman. Okay, I can see that. Anyone know what page are you on? We are currently on 11. All right, let's keep going. P9's relationship with Trump began before they worked for him in the White House. P9 had known P13, the defendant's son-in-law. We know P13 is Jared Kushner, since Jared Kushner was a child, though Kushner met P14, who is Ivanka Trump, who is known. What does CC stand for? Assuming PS. I was wondering what CC stands for, but I thought that was a dumb question. Anyone in chat? Does Jack Smith make it clear, or is this like a common legal term? Thank you, Stuffy. All right, let's keep reading. People are getting mad. Okay. P9 had known Jared Kushner since he was a child. Oh, co-conspirator. Lord have mercy. Wait, what the hell does, who the hell knew Jared Kushner since he was a child? Can someone tell me? P9, after knowing Jared Kushner since a child, then became one of the several attorneys. Identified who they were back in the first indictment. Okay, that makes sense. Ben Meiselas already identified some of them from a while ago. It might have changed a little bit. Steve Bannon. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Nobody knows who it was that knows Jared Kushner since he was young. Either way, somebody knew Jared Kushner since they were young, then became one of the several attorneys who represented Trump in his first impeachment trial. Is it Dershowitz? It's Dershowitz. It has to be Dershowitz. Including presenting arguments on the Senate floor on January 27th of 2020. Dershowitz began working in the White House as an assistant in 2020. It might be. And then in October 2020, they became interested in learning more about the defendant's campaign. And in November of 2020, he began interfacing with campaign staff. Yep. Thereafter, and throughout the post-election period, P9 became a conduit of information from the campaign. P5 is Steve Bannon. No, P1 is Steve Bannon. You are to report to Rudy Giuliani. Some people are saying CC is carbon copy, but it seems more like co-conspirator for sure. It's definitely co-conspirator. Thereafter, and throughout the post-election period, P9 became a conduit of information from the campaign to the defendant, and over the course of the conspiracies, they told the campaign the unvarnished truth about his campaign legal team and the claims of fraud that they and the defendant were making. Examples of these instances include P9 repeatedly gave Trump his honest assessment that Rudy Giuliani could not mount successful legal challenges to the election. For instance, when the defendant told P9 that he was going to put Giuliani in charge of the campaign's legal efforts but pay him only if he succeeded, P9 told the defendant that he would never have to pay Giuliani anything. In response, Trump laughed and said, "We'll see." This dude's evil. So he was going to screw over Giuliani? Let me look up P9 on Twitter. Thank you, Jane. Jania. You guys are the best too. White House lawyer P9. Oh, Mark Meadows is P21. We know that now. P9 is unconfirmed. P9 gave his honest assessment that Giuliani wouldn't win any of the challenges. For instance, when Trump told P9 that he was going to put Giuliani in charge of the campaign's legal efforts and only pay him if he succeeded, P9 told Trump he would never have to pay Giuliani anything. In response, Trump laughed and said, "We'll see." Thereafter, in Oval Office meetings with the defendant, Giuliani and others. So Giuliani is just... You almost feel bad, but you really don't. Rudy has still not been paid, and he's lost a bunch of money. Oh, they all deserve it. They all deserve it. Rudy Giuliani was being conned by his hero, and he deserves it so much. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. You guys are the best. Let's keep reading, because this is wild. Trump said, "We'll see." Thereafter, in Oval Office meetings with Trump, Giuliani, and others, in which Giuliani made speculative claims, P9 told told Trump that Giuliani would be unable to prove his allegations in a courtroom. So this person is being very, very realistic and saying, hey, Giuliani is a crackpot. He's not going to be able to prove any of this. That is what they're saying. P9 told Donald Trump repeatedly, hey, he's not going to win any of the court cases. He's not going to be able to prove any of this in a court of law. None of this is going to hold up. So that also confirms the idea that Trump knew there was no evidence of election fraud, and he kept barreling through it. 5,000 likes. You guys are the best. Let's go. Wouldn't want to be spending my birthday with anybody else other than you guys. This next bullet point. In the post-election period, P9 also took on the role of updating the defendant on a nearly daily basis on the campaign's unsuccessful efforts to support any findings of election fraud. P9 told Trump that the campaign was looking into his fraud claims and had even hired external experts to do so, but could find no support for them. He told the defendant that if the campaign took these claims to court, they would get slaughtered because all of the claims are bullshit. P9 was privy in real time to the findings of two expert consulting firms the campaign retained to investigate fraud claims, which Trump subsequently fired. He fired those firms. What a gift Jack Smith gave me. Yeah, Jack Smith and I had a conversation. He wanted to release it yesterday, but I said, wait to release it one more day on my birthday, and he said, I got you, bro. True story. In the post-election time period, Mike Pence, the defendant's own running mate, who he had directed to assess fraud allegations. Eastman is CC2? Yeah. We got that. Well, we believe so. P9 Bill Barr confirmed? Did someone just say that? Bro, let me just say, side note, everybody on Twitter is going through like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's like we're trying to put together the Zodiac puzzles right now on Twitter. Because John Reeves, I'm assuming a lawyer, looks like Jack Smith may have made a redaction error. P9 might be White House lawyer Eric Hirschman. And in the text, his name appears once without a redaction. Oh, maybe they didn't redact one of these, Hirschman. Everybody is trying to dissect this like it's the Zodiac messages, or like it's Where's Waldo or something. Everybody's looking through it on Twitter, going through some Easter egg hunt. It's just funny. It's a fun game, yeah. It shouldn't be a game, though. Or it shouldn't be fun, because it's serious. But continuing. P9, who they think is Hirschman. It's a cipher. That's what I was trying to say. It's like a cipher, yeah. Said that if they took these to court, it would get slaughtered because they're all, quote, bullshit. P9 was privy in real time to 2 expert consultings that Trump subsequently fired. Bernadette, thank you for the happy birthday message. Y'all are the best. In the post-election time period, Pence told Trump that he had seen no evidence of outcome-determinative fraud. This was in one way many of the conversations the defendant and Pence had as running mates in which they discussed their shared electoral interest. Boom. Boom. That is such a clean way to say it. Listen to how Jack Smith separates the difference between a personal action and an official action. He says, Mike Pence told Trump he lost the election. This was one of the many conversations where Trump and Pence had the conversation as running mates, in which they discussed their shared electoral interests. How can we win as candidates? They're not talking about it as the president and the vice president. They're talking about how can they win this. Has Trump said anything on Truth Social? That's a good question. Just Jamie, thank you so much. Trump has posted, oh my lord, he has posted a lot about it. First of all, he's posted like 10 times in the past few minutes. 2 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. He just posted election interference. I actually despise this man. We're reading about how he tried to interfere with the election in 100 different ways, and he's still doubling down. Oh my lord, it's pissing me off. It actually pisses me off. He said, Democrats are weaponizing the Justice Department against me because they know I am winning, and they are desperate to prop up their failing candidate Kamala Harris. The DOJ pushed out its latest hit job today because J.D. Vance humiliated Tim Walz last night in the debate. Does Trump think that Jack Smith stayed up all night on Adderall writing this because he was mad that Tim Walz lost the debate? This was prepared. This was already prepared a while ago. The DOJ has become nothing more than an extension of Joe's and now Kamala's campaign. This is egregious prosecutorial misconduct and should not have been released before the election. The Democrat Party is turning America into a third world country. Oh my, Lord have mercy, he is going off. I didn't realize it was this bad. The release of this falsehood-ridden, unconstitutional J6 brief immediately following Tim Walz's disastrous debate. That's his spin? This dude's trying to say that Jack Smith released this because of Tim Walz's debate performance. Jack Smith must be an absolute machine to stay up all night on Adderall. Yeah. Jack Smith didn't mention that in our phone call. He then says, it's another obvious attempt by the Harris-Biden regime to undermine and weaponize American democracy. 1 second, let me pull this off. There we go. I just had to recenter. This is absurd. Deranged Jack Smith. I can't take this seriously. Deranged Jack Smith. Jack Smith's like the most quiet, well-spoken, well-written person ever. The hand-picked prosecutor of the Harris-Biden DOJ and Washington, D.C.-based radical left Democrats are hell-bent on continuing to weaponize the Justice Department. Why does Trump even acknowledge it? Like, why is he biting? If I were him, I just wouldn't even talk about it. I wouldn't even talk about it at all. Thank you, Jennifer Martinez. Y'all are the best. Happy birthday, Adam. You're always hard. Thank you so much. I didn't post too many videos today because I've been kind of just chilling out, but I decided I'd do this live stream. I think that makes up for it. Amazing birthday gift from Jack Smith. And I know you guys are here to read the document, so let's go back to the source document. As much fun as it is to cover what Trump is saying, this stuff is wild. So Jack Smith details how Mike Pence told Donald Trump in a personal fashion, in a personal way, hey, there is no evidence of election fraud, especially outcome determinative election fraud. Thank you, Sandy. This was one of the many conversations the defendant and Pence had as running mates in which they discussed their shared electoral interests. Pence gradually and gently tried to convince Trump to accept the lawful results of the election, even if it meant they lost. These conversations included 1. A conversation on November 4th in which Trump asked Pence to study up claims of voter fraud in states they had won in 2016 to determine whether they could bring legal challenges to those states. Pence described the conversation as follows, quote, I think it was broadly, it was just, look at all of it. Let me know what you think. But he told me the campaign was going to fight, was going to court and make challenges. And then he said, we're going to fight this and look at it. Let me know what you think. A call between the defendant on Pence on November 7th was the second conversation they had regarding this. This is the day that media organizations began to project Biden as the winner of the election. Pence, quote, tried to encourage Trump as a friend, reminding him, you took a dying political party and gave it a new lease on life. 4 days later, on November 11th, meeting among the defendant, Pence, campaign staff, and some White House staff, Pence asked when most of the lawsuits would be resolved, and the campaign staff responded the week after Thanksgiving. The day after, a meeting among the defendant, Trump, and Pence and campaign staff and some White House staff, Pence recalls, quote, the campaign lawyers gave a sober and somewhat pessimistic report on the state of election challenges. Wow. And if you guys are just getting here, let me recap some of the most wild stuff.
So, when it appeared as though the events on January 6th were leading to be a violent effort. So, when it appeared as though the events on January 6th were leading to be a violent effort to overthrow the election results, one of Trump's campaign employees, also an agent, and a co-conspirator of Trump, literally said, quote, make them riot. Do it.
Wow. Make them riot. Do it. And we have it pulled up on the source document. 165 pages of pure gold. I don't know if gold is the word because it's pretty scary stuff, but the way that Jack Smith lays it out is certainly gold. And read this right here. In the immediate post-election period, while Trump claimed fraud without proof, his private operatives sought to create chaos rather than seek clarity at polling places where states were continuing to count votes. For example, on November 5th, P5, who is a campaign employee, tried to sow confusion when the ongoing vote count at the TCF counter in Detroit, Michigan looked unfavorable for Trump. Thank you, Gloria. I appreciate that. There, when a colleague at the TCF Center told P5, quote, we think this batch is heavily in Biden's favor, P5 responded, find a reason it isn't. Give me options to find litigation. And even if it is, give me reasons or give me options to file litigation, even if it is in Biden's favor. When the colleague suggested that there was about to be mass unrest reminiscent of the Brooks Brothers riots, which was after the 2000 election, obviously, P5 responded, make them riot, do it. Quote, make them riot, do it. Stone? I mean, now that you guys are saying it again, it does sound kind of like Roger Stone. He is an unhinged freak. Mike Pillow, as far as I'm aware, Mike Pillow wasn't like closely involved with Trump's campaign in that way. He helped with court cases, but he wasn't involved in that way. It does sound like Stone. Antonio, you agree? The Penguin is pretty good. PJ good. Thendis, you guys think it's Stone. RH thinks it's Flynn. Remember, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. A lot of times people think they are subscribed, but they're actually not. It's below the video. Click that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 600,000 before the election, which might be possible. All right, continuing. When somebody said that there's about to be unrest like 2000, like the Brooks Brothers riot, P5 said, make them riot. Do it. The defendant's campaign operatives and supporters used similar tactics at other tabulation centers. Wow, wait. Shark, thank you so much. This is great. Thank you, Adam, for all you do in your timely release of videos. I love your Choo Choo Kamala shirt. Hell yeah, I appreciate that. Smith has evidence of what Trump was looking at on his phone while he was sitting at the White House watching TV during the afternoon of January 6th. Thank you so much, Shark. Let me read this one more time. This is important. Wow. Jack Smith has evidence of what Trump was looking at on his phone while he was sitting at the White House watching TV on the afternoon of January 6th. As explained in the government's expert notice, an FBI computer analysis response team forensic examiner can testify as to the news and social media applications downloaded on the defendant's phone and can describe the activity occurring on the phone throughout the afternoon of January 6th. The phone's activity logs show that the defendant was using his phone, and in particular, using Twitter constantly throughout the day after he returned from the Ellipse speech. Wow. How old are you? I'm turning 22 today. Turning 22. So we have what Trump said on his phone. And also, what he said to Ivanka was crazy. Let me go back to this for the people just turning in. For the people just tuning in. He essentially was overheard. Has nobody tweeted about this? Wait, let me find this. This is insane right here. P15, who we know. Wait, we don't know P15. Mark Meadows. We think it was Mark Meadows. He witnessed an unprompted comment that Trump made to his family members in which Trump suggested that he would fight to remain in power regardless of whether he won the election. Specifically, following the 2020 election, while aboard Marine One. Do you think we care? You should care about this. Oh, you're talking to people in chat. You got married at 22? That's crazy to me. Mark Meadows, we think, overheard Trump tell his wife, tell his daughter, tell his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, quote, "It doesn't matter if you won the election, you still have to fight like hell." This is insane. He's a threat to our democracy in every sense of the words. And then they say you are to report to Rudy Giuliani. Trump fires his entire staff after that, which is wild. Let's see what else we have here. The ketchup is flying now? Absolutely. Okay. This is evidence from special counsel's team that Trump's team knew all along the fake GOP scheme wasn't legit. They even called them fake electors. The votes aren't legal under federal law. We would be sending in fake electoral votes. They admitted the electors were fake? Lord have mercy. This is from the document. I just talked to the gentleman who did that memo, CC5. Do we know CC5? His idea is basically that all of us, Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, have our electors send in their votes even though the votes aren't legal under federal law. Because they're not signed by the governor. He said the votes aren't legal. Thank you, Lynn. Wow. Thence was just giving protection due to the briefing being made public. Thence was? He was? Pence? One second. They then say, my comment to him is I guess there's no harm in it legally. We would just be sending in fake electoral votes to Pence so that someone in Congress could make an objection when they start counting votes. It is insane to me how much more this scheme has come together even a few years later. Let me know in chat, yes or no. Did you guys see a few months back when those recordings released of aides, I think they were aides for, I can't remember which congressman, carrying envelopes trying to deliver these envelopes to Mike Pence's aides so Mike Pence could use the fake electoral votes. Do you guys remember that? And then it says right here, my comment to him is there's no harm in it. We would be sending in fake electoral votes. You guys remember that? I made a video about it. It went totally viral. You guys remember when, I think I'll be able to find photos. Ron Johnson, yep. His aides were trying to hand over, but the thing is, they knew, where were we? We have a lot of tabs open. They knew in the days before that these were fake electoral votes. The votes aren't legal under federal law, they said. In this one, the new brief includes a substantial factual proffer of the government's evidence against Trump. Quote, when the defendant lost the 2020 presidential election, he resorted to crimes to stay in office. With private co-conspirators, Trump launched a series of increasingly desperate plans to overturn the legitimate election results in 7 states that he had lost, the targeted states. His efforts included lying to state officials in order to induce them to ignore true vote counts, manufacturing fraudulent electoral votes in the targeted states, attempting to enlist Mike Pence in his role as the president of the Senate to obstruct Congress's certification of the election by using the defendant's fraudulent electoral votes. And when all else had failed, on January 6, directing an angry crowd of supporters to the United States Capitol. I'm sending this to all of my Trump supporters right now. Not Trump supporters, my Trump supporter friends right now. I am posting this on all of my social medias. This one right here. Let me read this one more time. With private co-conspirators, the defendant launched a series of increasingly desperate plans to overturn the election results in the 7 states that he had lost. This is disgusting. How is the election close? Am I going crazy? How is the election even close? P5 sounds like Epstein. I'm posting that on all of my stories. The trolls in chat are freaking out. Yeah, people in chat are like, nobody cares about this. Someone in chat is like, why are you whining about nothing? Acting like I'm whining about nothing. You're not going crazy. I know I'm not going crazy. It's driving me crazy that the election is this close. I don't understand why, especially when we read something like this. I repeat. Private co-conspirators and Donald Trump launched a series of increasingly desperate plans in all of these swing states. His efforts included lying to state officials in order to induce them to ignore true vote counts, manufacturing fraudulent votes in the targeted states, attempting to enlist Mike Pence in his role as president of the Senate to obstruct Congress's certification of the election, and when all else failed, directing an angry crowd of supporters to the United States Capitol to obstruct the congressional certification. The through line of these efforts was deceit. Wow. You guys are saying, I don't think this will be close. I don't think this will be close. That's a good question. Has anybody in chat been polled? Anyone in chat participated in a poll from some sort of mainstream source? You know? Have you been polled on whether you're a Kamala voter? Nope. Nope. Did they just not poll liberals? Oh, we got one yes. Someone did. We got a few. And statistically, most people won't be. But it's like, man, did they just not poll Democrats? Some people said yes. I've gotten polled. Okay. Some of you guys have. But also, let me tell you guys, a lot of people tend to be very, like, instinctively anti-poll because of 2016 or 2020. But I trust the polls more so than I trust any other indicator. Like, polls are 100% going to be more accurate than if you're going off whether, like, there are yard signs in people's lawn. I hate the yard sign argument. Like, hey, I see a lot of Trump signs in my neighbor's yards. That means Trump's going to win. I saw a tweet that said that the other day. People genuinely make those arguments about Trump signs. So polls will always be better than Trump signs or the instinct of Bill Maher. Bill Maher says the election's over by now, but why would I trust Bill Maher's instinct? Let's continue reading. I love this. This one right here is amazing. I'm going to link this tweet in particular. If you guys have any Trump supporter friends or family, I'm going to send you this tweet. I'm going to link it in the chat, and I'm going to pin it. You can screenshot this photo right here. It's the section of the indictment. And you can just send this off to your friends and say, hey, read the highlighted parts. I'm going to link this in chat. And right here, there are, this is a section. It's just one paragraph. Just ask them to read this one paragraph. Yeah. It's crowd sizes over polls. Yeah, see, exactly. What about Alan Lichtman? Do you think his keys, thank you, first of all, for the donation. Do you think his keys to the White House are equal, better, or worse than the polls? You know, I want to love Alan Lichtman's 13 keys, but something in my gut does tell me that his keys are quite arbitrary and that he's the only one that is able to turn them. Get out of here. This person in chat is typing Trump 2024 and their name fits. Their name is bitch12. Is it because you're 12 years old? And you're... Get out of here. Okay, sorry. We're continuing on. Happy birthday. Thank you, Celeste. The brief goes through the familiar, never-ending false claims of 2020 election fraud by Trump and his allies. At trial, the government will introduce evidence of the defendant in his capacity as a candidate. And if you guys are just tuning in, I need to highlight, it's very important that Jack Smith shows he is doing this in his capacity as a defendant so the Supreme Court doesn't stick their head in there and go, hey, this was an official act. These communications... Sorry, let me restart. At the trial, the government will introduce evidence that the defendant, in his capacity as a candidate, contacted the state elected officials to use false claims of election fraud to induce their assistance with the charged conspiracies at the point in the electoral process in which the states ascertain electors. These communications included calls to P16, the governor of Arizona, a meeting with Michigan legislators at the White House, a call to P18, the Speaker of the Arizona State House, a call to P26, the Attorney General of Georgia, obviously, and a call to P33, the Georgia Secretary of State, obviously Raffensperger. The contacts, sometimes in person and sometimes by the phone, were part of a single course of conduct aimed at lying and influencing. Hell yeah, huge birthday crowd. What is up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Oh yeah, I've never doubted Jack Smith. He's a really, really good legal mind. Someone is asking about Truth Social. Yes, indeed. Trump is going on an absolute tear on Truth Social right now. He's genuinely posted like this is all within the past 30 minutes. More, all caps. How can I be a member to your channel? I believe where it says subscribe, if you click subscribe, it'll change to member. And then there's memberships, and I think it's $4.99 a month, $5 a month. And I'm trying to do special live streams, special content for the memberships. I'm hitting some MAGA rallies this month, so I'm thinking that some of the MAGA content will go for members only. And then the best and most explosive MAGA content will obviously be, yeah. This dude is so tough behind his keyboard. Yeah, not even keyboard. He's typing away. Does he not know that you can turn caps lock off? Thank you, Scrappy. Does he not know that you can turn caps lock off? This is some powerful stuff. And we've gotten through, okay, it's 165 pages, and we've gotten through a lot of the main points, but we have not read even 100 pages yet. So there's so much that we're missing, because this came out a few hours back. He's probably yelling into his phone to dictate. Probably. Thank you guys for all the happy birthdays. It means the world to me. 50 memberships. Hush Pup. You are the best. Thank you, Hush Pup. Hell yeah. Welcome to Mockler's Mafia. What's happening? I've been at work since 5 a.m. All right, a quick recap, and then I'm going to wrap up the stream. What happened is Jack Smith wrote a new document to circumvent the Supreme Court's ruling. The Supreme Court came out and said, hey, Donald Trump, if he's doing an official act, you can't bring that to court. So Jack Smith said, bet, I'm going to rewrite this document, and I'm going to make it so that everything Donald Trump did is a private act, and he demonstrates all of Donald Trump's election fraud through private actions, through conversations that he had with private attorneys, people like Ivanka, people like Jared Kushner. He's able to demonstrate time and time again, repeatedly, that Donald Trump, in a private manner, in the private capacity as a citizen, tried to subvert the will of the American people, and not as the president of the United States. And you know, I'm very conflicted because I really want to stay on live for like another hour or two, but I've got family coming over in about 30 minutes. I got to go do some stuff in real life. So I love you guys. Peace out. Thank you for everything. Thank you for making my birthday better. Thank you for making my birthday amazing. Love all of you. I love all of you. I'll post a video tonight or tomorrow. I might just take the night off. Peace out. Thank you, Lee. And see you guys.